number 2 or number 1, whatever you want to call them. I don't know, Rich, whichever one you have a predilection for. When I succumb to Harambe pox,
we're going to turn into an anti-Kevin Smith podcast.
I mean, we've already got the websites for it.
There we go.
Yeah, what's that website, Rich?
It was Harley Quinn Smith eatsmyballs.com.
Okay. I thought it was Ate My Balls.
Yeah.
Ate my balls. Sorry, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, because that was the meme. It is the three of us
Harley
here.
Smith or Harley Quinn?
I don't know how long Bobby's going to hang out because he's got Harambe pox. Hashtag Harambe pox. HarambePox.com.
Yeah, HarambePox.com, which apparently will now lead you to our site.
So he has something wrong with him. But Richie and I are gonna do his desert island. But I think before we dive into that, we'll kind of rehash the premise of that one. This is an episode Bobby and I did last year, and it's a fun one. I think I'm really excited to hear what you've got for this because you have some really interesting and a cool and eclectic taste. So I'm really excited for this. I think Bobby, real briefly, should we kind of hit on the Sasha and Naomi thing?
Yeah. Let's.
So while Bobby's
sorry, I had to get some Harambe out of my lungs.
Half dying. I'll kind of set the stage. I'll kind of set the stage here. So, fairly recently, within the last couple of weeks, Sasha Banks and Naomi of WWE, who are the current, at the time anyway, women's tag team champions, basically walked out of the company. And it being reported on their end anyway that they were basically being unfairly treated and did not like how they were being booked. It's kind of took the wrestling world by storm because all of a sudden there was a lot of support on their side for them walking out. And I don't know, curious, Bobby, I know you've been throwing a couple things at me on this. What's your take without you dying on this?
I fully support them, and reason being, I mean, I feel like a lot of the people who don't support them, I question where they're coming from, because I feel like those same people that don't support them are the same people who were supporting CM Punk, who were supporting Stone Cold, and countless others who've walked out on the company. And I think it's really, I understand why Michael Cole and Corey Graves are making the statements they're making, but the statement, they're reading these statements from the company that are just like, they're out there, man. The company is going out of their way to try and smear these people. And so at this point, what I would say is, look at how much they're trying to make Sasha and Naomi look like crap. And that tells me that they're getting really defensive about this. And so they, to me, in my opinion, one doth protest too much. And I feel like they're going out of their way to try and shit all over Naomi and Sasha. And it just makes WWE look worse. And the people who are coming out in support of the WWE, I don't understand. That's like, those are the same kind of people I would expect would cross a picket line if there was a strike. You're going to go against your own teammates, so to speak, or your own contemporaries, peers, whatever you want to call them. It's not a good look.
Right. Richie, are you familiar with this at all? I know you're following AEW more, so.
I am familiar with them. Like, they came in and decided they were booked poorly, and they just kind of left during that live show. I've never watched either of them wrestle. And Sasha, I don't know Naomi at all. Sasha Banks, I know because I always confused as to whether or not she's attractive. Like, I don't know. Sometimes she looks hot. Sometimes she's got like this potato head kind of thing going on. And so she's like, there's better. No, I never. Yeah.
Now we should say, just for the sake of, to fill in the picture here and paint the picture for you guys out there, Richie is currently wearing a pair of Sky Blues wrestling trunks on his face, like a ninja mask. So
I said there's
you know,
better out there.
He may be a little bit biased.
That was my top 5 I was trying to come up with were best asses after The Rock. The Rock wasn't on there because he just would have won all of it. John Cena too, if I think back to Peacemaker. He probably could have made a list too. But yeah, I think it's Sky Blue. Alexa Bliss is up there. AJ Lee. And then that's the only ones I could think of.
Did you see the picture she posted recently? How ripped her freaking abs are?
Yes, I did.
Dude,
yeah, I did. Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, she got. Yeah,
that is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I've never seen her wrestle either, but I follow her on Twitter for some reason. I don't know why.
I couldn't.
Yeah, I don't know either. Back on the Banks and the Naomi thing, and this is the thing I was kind of thinking about. And I'm going to take it or leave it with Banks. And again, I'm not trying to set myself up as one of those that's sticking up for the company on this whatsoever. I'm going to kind of separate the two, although they did walk out together. Banks, I think, at times has the tendency to kind of be a diva, if you will, for lack of a better word. Granted, I still don't think she was treated fairly either because she was booked horribly. I've followed her career all through NXT, and I still think one of the best women's matches I've ever seen dates back to an NXT takeover with her and Bayley. That was like a 30-minute match at a takeover Brooklyn several years ago. Just absolutely love that match. Naomi is the one that was more surprising to me, and mainly because of timing. Because if you noticed how strong the bloodline's being booked, obviously they hold all the titles now, and Naomi happens to be married to an Uso, so that one was just odd. The timing is just bizarre. So
well, and I'll say too, and I'll agree with you on one point where Sasha does have that reputation where she, this isn't the first time that we've had stories like this about her. So maybe if I'm playing devil's advocate, maybe I could say on the side of people who are taking the company side on this, all right, maybe you're looking at her past history and saying, okay, this could just be another case of her kind of blowing things out of proportion. There was that story at, WrestleMania where she and Bayley were kicking and screaming and pitching a fit, laying on the floor in the locker room or something. Do you remember that?
Yeah, vaguely, yeah.
And then they were off TV for a while, and I don't remember exactly what the whole story was with that. But maybe people taking like all of that stuff into consideration. Okay, I could kind of get it. But Naomi hasn't really had that kind of a track record, and so I don't know. It's just weird. The whole situation is weird, and I mean, again, I kind of go with and maybe it's just the commie bastard in me. I'm always going to go against the corporation. And so I'm always going to be, when I see a multi-million-dollar corporation who's been cutting people left and right and then making record profits, I'm 9 times out of 10 going to say that they're in the wrong in a situation just based on their track record.
Right. And that's kind of where I was going with it too, is that at the end of the day, they've released, like 80 some odd wrestlers in the last, I don't know the timeline, but it's been a lot.
Right.
And, I think to me, when I really look at this, whole picture, this was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back for Sasha. Naomi just happened to be her tag team partner. And really, truth be told, Naomi has been a long time company player. So I think this is just one of those things where she's been pushed before, as a solid singles competitor. Now she, has a title on her, not anymore, but with Sasha Banks. And I mean, I really wasn't following the products, but they won those titles and they weren't doing anything with them. So booked very poorly. I get it. I just think it's odd with the, at least on Naomi's perspective, the whole like, hey, but my husband's an Uso who has like the massive mega push right now. So,
right.
And how many times have, and I don't know what the one has been, how many DUIs?
Right.
I mean,
well, and all right, this doesn't sound bad, but really, has it been both of them? Has it just been one? Because honestly, I can't tell them apart.
They're
They're
identical twins,
so
so
you know,
and
I don't keep
yeah,
track.
yeah. I don't know. I could be wrong on which one. They just whatever.
Both their
Anyway,
names start with J.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But all right. So all right, Richie, you I'm gonna run through kind of what the story of the desert island here, and then we'll Bobby, if you can kind of hang in there. If not, we understand, because I know you're about half dead with the Harambe pox. We'll go through Richie's
for as long as I can, and then hopefully I don't lose a lung on screen.
Yeah. It'd be all right. Well, I mean, we don't have video. Well, we do have video on this, so if you do,
you guys can see me. So
I'm gonna clip it out and make sure that it gets
make sure that shit goes viral.
Exactly.
Hashtag Harambe pox.
Yeah. So this is the
Jesus Christ. I'm going to hell for that.
It would be be like It's Always Sunny, but except the gang, it would be like Bobby, the one where Bobby dies of Harambe pox or something like that.
Yeah, that's accurate.
So hang in there, man.
I've never seen an episode of It's Always Sunny.
Holy crap!
Yeah,
I feel like this is a whole episode within itself now.
Yeah, and they had I don't know if it was for the show or just to promote the show, but
they had the bar. They owned it.
Danny DeVito, actually, when I was working at the stock exchange building, he came in one day and rang the bell.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. He's really short. Like, he looks short, but like when you see him in person, he's like super short.
Yeah, he's
like tiny. The TV actually adds height to him for some reason.
Well, that's the lifts in his shoes.
Good old Frank Reynolds.
He was very nice though, like staying around to talk to people and stuff like that.
I've heard, and Daniel and I have talked about him quite extensively. Like, he is a genuinely good dude. Yeah. He's a big heart, and I think he's just a generally good person, and on camera he's just screwed up.
I love that he did you guys see that one girl took a cardboard cutout of him to prom, so then he made a cardboard cutout of her and walked around with it on set?
That's so good.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to read through the desert island scenario here. So here's the deal. You're stuck on an island in the middle of the ocean. You're going to be trapped there for the rest of your life with no escape and no way to contact the outside world. However, it's not all bad. This mysterious island you found yourself stranded on has a resort on it with no staff, somehow kept meticulously clean. It has working electricity, water, and plumbing, with all the necessary stuff to keep you clean, and somehow food and drinks are abundant and never ending. With this exercise, you'll never get anything worse than a cold, and you'll never need dental work. Any medical issues you have are taken care of by the resort in your sleep.
Should I go there?
You might. You might need to.
For Harambe pox?
That's right. So you also will have 5 celebrities of your choice on the island with you, and we'll get into that, dead or alive, whatever. But again, you'll never leave the island of any or have any kind of contact with the outside world. So you're somehow managed to bring 5 albums, 5 movies, 5 video games, 5 books, 5 full runs of TV shows, and you've gained access to 1 streaming service. And Richie, if you would like, you can also add a sports league of your choosing. The food and drink available to you, besides clean, fresh water, are 5 foods, 5 snacks, 3 sides, 3 alcoholic drinks, which can be mixed, and 3 non-alcoholic drinks that you've chosen. So we're going to ask you, how does your island stay look? So we'll kind of try to go in order here on the list, let's start off with, what 5 movies did you smuggle along here to your desert island stay?
I do want to say, for as many times as we pushed this thing off, I was still adding entries while you guys were talking about Sasha and whatever. So I got everything filled out, but some of them are quick. The movies one is one of the ones I spent some time on, though. And my 5 movies, in no particular order, are One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, going back to Danny DeVito's first movie, actually, and an early movie for Christopher Lloyd, too. They both play crazy people in the insane asylum. Better Off Dead, John Cusack's best movie.
Nice.
Also featuring Curtis Armstrong, Booger from Revenge of the Nerds. Just great movie all around. The Maltese Falcon, Love Humphrey Bogart. It was between that and Casablanca, and I just like the noir kind of feeling of the Maltese Falcon a little better. The Godfather, because it is the greatest movie of all time. It's also a fantastic book, but I'm going to choose the movie over the book in this case. And then I had a problem picking a fifth one, so I just threw Army of Darkness in there because that's one of the movies I can rewatch over and over and over and over and over again.
Nice.
So
Yeah, that's cool, and that's why I was so excited for you to fill this out because I know you would have like some really great answers. Not that like Bobby and I didn't, but you know, I think we approach this more of a, like you said, with Army of Darkness. It's something that you can watch over and over and over again. But not that like the Maltese Falcon isn't or whatever. But I think that's how we looked at it, was just, you know, hey, I went with like very simple. I don't care if it's a background noise movie or I'm watching it like intently, type comedy or something. But no, that's cool, man. That's a great list. Really
I think
hits.
both of us had Kevin Smith.
Yeah, I'm looking at mine. Actually, no, my top 5 did not have any Kevin Smith.
Oh,
no, yeah.
I could probably put Clerks on the list, maybe. Like if I had to pick something, because again, that's one of the ones I could watch over and over and over again. But I think out of all of them, that's the only one.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I mean, I watched them as a 20-something-year-old. I watched them over and over and over again repeatedly, and I think I got my fill.
Yeah, and that, you know, it's funny. This is one of the conversations I know we had on this one, Bobby. You know, your tastes obviously tend to change over the years. So, you know, if you do this list 20 years ago, it's going to look way different.
Oh yeah.
And the other thing too, I was curious. We've talked about this before. Would you have thought about this differently if it were around Christmas time?
No, I don't
Okay.
think so.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I think that's certainly
I
fair.
just looked mine up. I did not have Kevin Smith on mine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh. Maybe we were the anti Kevin Smith before Richie sorted.
Yeah. Yeah, Richie just picked up from us. Yeah. Yeah. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so we did movies. How about TV shows?
The TV shows was hard. I honestly don't watch a whole lot of TV. I mean, there's some things that I like to watch when they're on, but even then, and then as I thought about it, I'm like, well, I guess Netflix shows would count and other ones would count. But again, I didn't really think that too hard about that one. This one, I just kind of threw up there relatively quick, not as quick as the movies, but yeah, just it was a little more difficult. But going down the list, and this is a weird list too, looking at it, but probably not the weirdest. I thought Real Ghostbusters. Again, there's like 200 some episodes, and they're all until Slimer took over. For the most part, they were entertaining. Breaking Bad, which I think if I really had to think about it, is probably maybe not my favorite, more than the best TV series of all time. From beginning to end, was pretty good. I could have went with Sopranos too. I think I like Breaking Bad a little better than Sopranos. I thought the end of Sopranos sucked, like a lot of people do. The last 2 seasons, like when he was in the coma on. Twilight Zone, again, I love that sci-fi horror kind of thing. It was also on forever, so there's plenty of episodes. And even though, I mean, the show is probably twice as old as I am, and I know the ending to every one of them, but they're still entertaining to watch when there's like a marathon on during a holiday. So I just thought Twilight Zone was good. Batman the Animated Series, again, it was on for a while. The writing was fantastic. Again, it's one of them shows that I can just throw on and watch whenever. And then when it comes to TV shows, the only show that I watch like every night when it's airing live is Jeopardy. So I threw that on there. I figured if you guys could have sports leagues, I could have Jeopardy.
Oh, that's a great choice because that show's been on forever, and you have
Makes sense.
Limitless episodes.
Well, I mean, we'll see where it goes from here. But
well, I mean,
the guy that's on there now, he's a 7th time. He's from Philly, and he's a big guy. So he's a big guy from Philly, which is awesome.
there you go. All right.
Yeah,
I can get behind that.
Did they finally? I'll be honest.
I'm kind of biased.
I've not followed along or paid attention. Did they finally settle on a host?
No, they're still going back and forth between I can never pronounce her name, so I'm just going to say Blossom, who I don't like. I didn't like her as an actress, and I'm not a fan of her as a host either. But I mean, she doesn't do. I mean, they toned her down a little bit. She's getting a little better. But I like the other guy, Ken. He was one of the champions. Yeah, he's actually really good. I like the way he interacts with the guests. Yeah,
cool. It's funny.
As geeky as that sounds. Yeah.
That's a great that's a great add on that. And it's funny because I was looking back at my list and I went through and I cheated because I put a A&E biography. So I was like, I love documentaries and I'm like, that show's been on for a long time. So
Behind the Music could have been cool too. They didn't think about documentaries.
You know, I actually just watched, it was like a videotaped version of the Behind the Music on Weird Al Yankovic.
I just saw that online. Did you share that, or it was like in my feed somewhere?
No, I just well, maybe I don't think I did, but I watched it on YouTube with the '90s commercials and everything.
The one that surprised me the most was oh Jesus Christ, the Bangles, the Walk Like an Egyptian people.
Mm-hmm.
They just had I never knew much about them, and then I watched the thing for the because I think Susanna Hoffs is hot. That's why I watched it. But it turns out like Prince had a thing for her, so he wrote Manic Monday, like their own. I think Walk Like an Egyptian was a hit. It was like their biggest hit, and he just wrote that to get in their pants. Like, here you go, you can have this. Come bang me, nice. I'm Prince. And one of the other women in the band was from the Runaways, like a famous one, but like I don't know if it was the bassist or whatever.
Oh, get out.
Well, this is surprisingly interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Now we're on to, and this should be a fun one, 5 video games.
Okay. So when I looked at this one, I started thinking, well, if I'm going to play them forever, they're probably going to be arcade games, like high score games that are, you can play repetitively over and over and over again. But I did put, I'm going to say maybe 3 of my favorite games made the list, maybe 4. So it was like kind of, I guess it's just what I play anyway. So going down the list, Miss Pac-Man was number 1, and I still think that's. I mean, I own a Miss Pac-Man arcade cabinet. It's in the living room. It's one of my favorite games. It's infinitely playable, and when you get tired of Miss Pac-Man, there's a fast hack you can put in that makes the ghost go faster, and it's just again another level of play. Then I went with Tempest 4000. It's a remake of Tempest, but more of a remake of Tempest 2000 for the Atari Jaguar. It's just a very psychedelic version of Tempest, which is the tunnel shooter. So you're moving around in a circle, shooting into things coming kind of up out of the tunnel or well. The original game was a vector graphics game. This mimics the vector graphics, but it adds very psychedelic particle effects, a soundtrack that's the soundtrack for Tempest 2000 was released on CD. It's house music, rave music. I don't know exactly what you'd call it. It's the kind of music that EDM, not EDM, but like that kind of, not noisy, but I like it. I don't like EDM, but I like this. So it's kind of hard to explain.
Yeah, I'm looking at screens now. I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's very psychedelic.
And 4K is on like all the modern consoles. You can get it on Switch, PS4, all the other stuff. Then I went with Minecraft. Minecraft was a game I didn't play until I was working with a group of people who had a Minecraft server in the office, and they were playing on that. It's like, you should really check this out. It's fun. And Minecraft's one of those things where if I have nothing else to do, I'll sit down, put on Minecraft, and you can totally get lost in it, like lose track of time, kind of lost in it. Because I guess the point is you're trying to get to the end and kill the dragon, but nobody really does that. You build whatever, you mine whatever, you just come up with your own goal kind of things. And I figured if I'm stuck on an island, this game that's like infinitely playable with infinite mods, just they could probably last until I die and still be fun. The same with the next one, which is Tetris. Tetris I've been playing since before the Game Boy, because we had it on the computer, which was when it first came out. And then the Game Boy just made the best version that I still have on my nightstand, like on a Game Boy Pocket that I play every once in a while. Again, just infinitely playable. high score kind of thing. And then I was having a problem with a fifth game, coming up with something. So I threw Mario World on there. Again, it's a game I go back and play over and over and over again. I also play Link to the Past again, but Link to the Past has too much of a story where I think I'd get tired of playing it eventually, whereas Mario, and the story you're saving the princess is very basic kind of thing, but there's no cutscenes or stuff like that. So I figured it was one of the ones I could go back to. I thought about Mario 3 versus Mario World. I think I like Mario World just a little better because the secrets in it, like, it just makes it a little longer to play through.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I've always liked Mario World a tinge better than Mario 3, just for playability, and for that same reason too. But I had Tetris on my top 5 too. That's just always going to be on mine. Bobby, I thought you did too, right?
I had Dr. Mario.
That's right. I knew there was something that was.
Yeah, I had Dr. Mario, which I actually incidentally was playing today and falling asleep playing.
Were you going to hope those pills were going to cure you?
I was hoping they'd come out of the screen. I was damn near hallucinating. So, no, I just, that's my comfort game. That game's like comfort food. So,
do you think Mario is a more trustworthy doctor than Dr. Barbie?
No. No.
Like, they both have done every job ever, and it's just kind of
true. But I think Dr. Mario's physiology is different than that of a normal human. Barbie has more human-like proportions. Mario's,
I don't know. Maybe newer Barbies. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at the two of them next to each other. If you ever see somebody with somebody's like with their nose that's as big as Mario's, something's wrong. They've got elephantitis. They need to go see an actual doctor.
And ears too.
And those ears, yeah, dude.
Don't make fun of that Italian nose. Big old Italian nose.
I got it too. But I'm just saying, like, that's a whole different story, man. That's like a tomato.
What if the doctor was actually, instead of looking like that Mario, he looked like Captain Lou?
I would trust Captain Lou. I mean, he's got the rubber bands there, so if you need a tourniquet, he's got the rubber band. You just pop it on there, tighten it up.
He took care of Cyndi Lauper for a while too, so
yeah,
there you go.
So yeah, I'm going with Captain Lou every time.
Yeah, I'm all in on Captain Lou. All right, 5 albums now. Richie, I don't know if I had this note on yours or not, but you were allowed one greatest hits and a live album.
Yes.
Okay.
And I did. Actually, I don't think I went with a live one. Looks like I just did one greatest hits one.
Okay.
Going down, and this was one that I also did relatively, like, I saw the list. Oh, I could come up with 5. The problem was limiting it to 5. Like, which ones would I pick on there? And it was rough. And this is, like, again, another list where if you ask me in a week, this might change based on, a month or whatever. So this is just for right now. Now, this first one would probably stay on the list no matter what. It's an album that I actually, I have insomnia sometimes, and this is one of them things that I put on to help me sleep, but it's also a fantastic album. And it's one of the ones that I've owned on cassette, CD, and then I went back and bought it on vinyl, and then got it on the Mobile Fidelity Sound Labs audiophile vinyl, and then got the remix that he did last year. And it was Tea for the Tillerman by Cat Stevens. Wow. And it's one of those albums that I consider a perfect album. It's got his hits on there, songs that you would know, and it's a singer-songwriter album, so it's kind of just laid back and whatever, and it's just one of those relax kind of things. Like, oh, I feel grumpy, let's put this on, or oh, I want to go to sleep, let's put this on. It's a mood-altering album, at least for me anyway. And I love Cat Stevens when he put out a remix of this, I want to say 2020, where he did the whole album over again, but just as an old guy. And it's not as good as the original, but the way he changes it, it's just neat to see him go back and redo that album. And he's a weird, well, not weird, but he was really big, I guess, in the 70s. Converted. He's a Greek by birth. Converted to Islam. Decided that his music. He was worried about his music being too good, and it was some kind of version of humility, like, well, my music takes away from Allah, so I'm not going to do my music anymore. And his children convinced him that no, your music's a gift from God. You should start doing music again. So, like, I guess in the 90s, so from like 10, 20 years, he had nothing, and then came back and started putting out music as Yosef, which is what he changed his name to. And it's still, I mean, it's Cat Stevens. NPR has one of the greatest YouTube channels ever. It's their tiny home concerts, where they bring somebody into their office and they have them do a live show, like 3 or 4 songs. It's not a long show. But a couple of years ago, they had Cat Stevens on, and it was really, really good. So yeah, Kiefer the Tillerman was number one for sure.
Nice.
And then the other ones are ones that I've just been listening to a lot lately, or that I really like. So number 2, I put Deja Vu by Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. Again, it just turned, I want to say 50, so they just came out with a remaster of that too, which sounds amazing. And again, it's when you think of Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, this is one of the albums that has like Teach Your Children's on there, and I Almost Cut My Hair, which is an awesome song by Crosby. And it's just that again, that singer-songwriter mixed with your old school rock, your folk rock stuff. And it's one of the ones with Neil Young on it, and I think Neil Young's fantastic. So I think together they're better than when they're separate. Although again, Crosby, all these guys, they're still around, even though they're in their 70s and 80s now. But a couple of years ago, Crosby put out an album that was surprisingly good. But Deja Vu, again, is one of those ones. I don't think there's a bad song on it. I can listen to it over and over and over again from front to back, and I love it. Along with the next one, I love the Velvet Underground, and I love Lou Reed specifically, and Transformer has to make it. Walk on the Wild Side, Perfect Day, which I think is my favorite song. And again, it's just one of the ones that I listen to when I want to feel happy, when I want to, I want to feel, listen to good music. Let's put on Lou Reed. And then it started to get a little more difficult because those are my 3 top ones right now. What else should I put on there? So I thought about the greatest hits, and I chose one by the Beatles. That was their collection of all their number ones spanning their whole career. And it's hard to pick just one Beatles album. So that's why I figured let's go with the greatest hits for them. If I had to pick one, it would probably be, I can't. I was going to say Revolver or Rubber Soul. But then I'm like, well, Sgt. Pepper's was really good too, and then the other. So they're better off just go with their greatest hits. And then number 5 got to be. It's one of those things that I've been listening to on and off. It's off the wall, but it's one of the ones where I have it like in the car. I tend to just I need to listen to something. Let's throw this on because it's lying around. And it's The Hangman's Beautiful Daughter by the Incredible String Band. They're an early prog rock band. I want to say their lead singer is Scottish, and their early stuff is very like if there was a modern equivalent, it'd be Google Bordello. So it's very Celtic folk music mixed with prog rock. So one of the best songs on this album is the Minotaur song. And if you ever listen to that, it sounds like an old English just melody, where it's a song being sung by a minotaur about living in a maze under the earth, and he can't sleep well because of his horns. It's just a great song that you have to listen to. But the whole album is just kind of beautiful in a weird way. I wanted to put Zappa on here, but I think that just with how much I've been listening to this, lately I decided to go with the Incredible String Band.
Yeah.
And that's one of the ones where when I started collecting records again, I tried to put together their discography because I just, again, the music gets more, well, like everyone, they tried to do some commercial albums. So there's a couple albums that aren't quite as weird or as good as the other ones, but then you have this one, the Hangman's Beautiful Daughter is the name of the album, or Weetam, which is just another album they put back side by side. And I just, like I said, it's one of those ones that I just put on and have fun with.
I just threw them in my notes, yeah. You said early prog rock, and I was like, I'm down.
Yeah,
I'm down. No, and Lou Reed, I'm 100% with you on that, man. I love Lou Reed. But the one thing that you really stuck with me on that was the Beatles one, the greatest hits. I really go back on my list. I wish I would have put that because yeah, that thing just chock full of.
Going with other things hitting 50. George Harrison's first album just had his 50th anniversary too. All Things Must Pass, I want to say it's called. It's All Things Something, yeah. And it's just it's a 3-disc set. They remastered that too. And again, I don't know what they're doing with the remasters, but it just sounds amazing. And with this one specifically, like it's members of the Beatles doing the music with him, playing the songs, and he had like Eric Clapton backing him up on guitar on some of the things. And it's songs that he wrote to do with the Beatles, and they just, for whatever reason, never made. So he's like, well, I'm going to do it on my album. And it's just, again, that could have made the list too, because I've been listening to that a lot. So,
no, it's one of those things. Like think back, and whenever we did this, and I look back at things that I really liked, but the Beatles are a huge influence for me because my mom was such a huge Beatles fan. My first concert was Paul McCartney, and it's almost a sin that I don't include them more, but I just don't think about. At times, and so that's a great ad for greatest hits anyway.
I was just re-listening to Big Ones and Get a Grip too, and I forgot how much I liked Aerosmith. Like I really did. It's like it seems like I listened to them a lot and then forgot about them completely. And like this is really good.
Well, and speaking of Aerosmith,
he doesn't just do country music and look like an old woman.
Wait, Steven Tyler's been doing country music?
Yeah, he had. I don't know if he did more than one, but there was definitely one country album around the time he did American Idol. Yeah.
All right. Did you see he went back to rehab today?
No, that doesn't surprise me. But no.
Well, they had to cancel their tour. He broke his foot and had surgery, and using the pain pills from recovering from surgery, ended up putting them.
I saw him in college. It was the 9 Lives tour, whenever that was. It may have been before college.
Yeah. Well, I went to that concert senior year.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed with them live. I think I like them better. Yeah. And then I won tickets to Kiss and wasn't really a big Kiss fan, and that was an awesome live show. That is really good. The music's okay, but the show's really good.
It's theatrics. I mean, that's their whole gimmick. The music is. I'm the same way.
They do it really well.
Yeah, same way. Like my favorite, show live was always theatrical. As far as music was Marilyn Manson, and music.
I got to see him once too, and that was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Music aside, I mean, the theatrics was amazing.
It was Slayer Manson, and that was just an awesome show.
Yeah,
we won those tickets, and not one. I used to work for a law firm, and law firms will get. I don't know if they're like seasons passes, but they get just tickets to whatever show's there. And usually they give them out to clients. And if they can't give them out to clients, they made them available to, us peons, the staff. And for some reason, none of the clients wanted to go see Manson Slayer. So okay. Me and another guy grabbed it. The other guy was older than me, so he went to go see Slayer, who I didn't know of before that show. And then I went for Manson because at the time I was a big fan. And you're right. I mean, even Slayer's show was really good. It was a fantastic show. But going back to Kiss, though, his opening act was Ted Nugent. And Ted Nugent, I don't agree with any of his politics or anything like that. But his stage show was fantastic. And his music, I mean, it was fun. I can understand, as long as he doesn't, talk about whatever. It's like he shot a flaming arrow with his guitar. He did Cat Scratch Fever. Like, this is good. It's cool.
Yeah, this separate the man from a catalog. He really does. I mean, it's
just a nut.
I can't get past that part either. So, but the catalog is ridiculous. I mean,
I think Skid Row was there too, but we missed them. We got there late.
Yeah, well, it is Skid Row. I mean,
oh darn, what a shame.
All right, so we did music. Great choices. I love just kind of listening to, because I knew that's one thought I think I was really excited about, like kind of hearing your take on this, because I know you have just like really awesome.
I was also super close to throwing either Rocket to Russia or Road to Ruin on there from the Ramones, and it just didn't make the cut. They were close, like it was super close.
I was kind of surprised there were two albums I thought were going to be on there. Either We're a Happy Family or
that was a good album. Yeah,
or Queen's Greatest Hits.
I think I like what I put better. Not that I don't like
Queen. Oh no.
Very good. Yeah.
Not arguing with what you said. I was just
that was one of my first CDs was Queen's Greatest Hits.
That was the first place I ever saw that CD, was at your house.
Yeah.
So I always, when I listen to that album, I kind of associate that with you. So I was just.
And one of my first favorite albums was Led Zeppelin 4, and Led Zeppelin didn't make the list either, but I still like listening to them here and there. They're kind of, like you said, as you age over, like I'll still, like I won't turn off the songs, but I've heard them so many times now that I'm just kind of, there's better out there.
What about Jerky Boys? Why didn't Jerky Boys make the list?
I didn't think of comedy albums. I thought of just music there. I think comedy albums would have to be its own thing.
That's the thing. Like, I can't think of any comedy album though that I would want to listen to ad nauseum.
Oh, not Retaliation. I mean, come on. Whatever the fuck his other album was called.
I could probably go with like a Carlin.
Yeah, I mean, like Carlin, maybe.
Chris, I'm a big Chris Rock mark. You guys know that.
Like a Bigger and Blacker. I had that.
Yeah, I could go. I go that over again.
And either of Eddie Murphy's would be really good.
I do like.
They're a little dated now, but the one where he's calling Mr. T gay. I know that's a dated thing, and he uses terms they don't want to use anymore. And I shouldn't laugh at that, but as a child from the 80s, that's still like Mr. T breaking off somebody's dick in his ass is fantastic. That's comedy.
I mean, I still listen to.
Come on, boy.
What's it called? Dennis Leary, the
asshole.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll still go off of the Jackie Martling stuff too and talk about not appropriate at all.
Now that I have Apple Music and I can kind of stream whatever, I'm listening to a lot of old Rodney Dangerfield stuff. He was really good.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, he was.
And Sam Kinnison's one of the ones, I still think he's funny, but he's one of the ones that I think I may have aged out of. Like, he was better when I was younger, and like Bob said, more of a punk kind of anti-authority thing. Now that I'm just older, it's like, it's okay. He's still, I really like him in Back to School, though, as the teacher there. The Vietnam vet is awesome. Good movie, too. Could have made the list. Going into is the next one books, because that's a good set. Because starring in, not starring, but in Back to School, we had Kurt Vonnegut, and Kurt Vonnegut may be on my book list coming up. Not number one, but he may be on the book list.
Oh, I like it.
There you go.
So, okay, so if that's not number one, do you have a number one on your book list?
This is one that I will read almost every year. I usually go through the series, but since we're limited to books, I'm going to just go with just the first one, and that's The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I read that first in high school. I saw the BBC series. I watched the lousy movie that we made in America. I have the radio show, both bootlegged and in my Audible account, and it's just the book. I guess because it's the first way I got into it, is the one that I still go back to all the time. I think it's fantastically funny. I like the sci-fi in there. I've read, which isn't hard to do since he's dead and not really making much more, but I've read all of Douglas Adams' books, and this is still my favorite, the best one in the series.
I'm kind of mad that I didn't put any of that series on my list.
And then the other ones are just, they're definitely some of my favorite books, but they're not in any order. The next one down, I'm probably thinking of this more because of the movie that just came out, but it was Dune by Frank Herbert. I didn't read it until a couple of years ago. I saw the movie with Sting. Didn't understand it the first time I saw it. then got older and learned who David Lynch was and watched it again, and still said this is really weird. Then read the book and watched it again, like, okay, I get it now. And I do really like the movie, but the book is just, I thought it was going to be boring. Like going into it, just going off of the Patrick Stewart fighting, what's his name in the beginning, training, I guess, Kyle MacLachlan in the movie and stuff. And like a spice trade, how could this be? And I've read the first 3 books now, and I thought they were all fantastic. And I think I could read Dune a couple of times. I mean, it's a big, long book, but I've read all of Stephen King stuff too, so I'm okay with that. And I'm actually kind of surprised that Stephen King didn't make the list now that I'm thinking about that. But I just think Dune's more of that world building stuff. It's something you could get into more than rereading the Stephen King stuff, maybe. And it's like, I don't know. But yeah, Dune going back in there. And it looks like sci-fi is going to be, I didn't realize that until I just looked at it now. There's a lot of sci-fi here. The next one on the list, I guess, is sci-fi, but it's Kurt Vonnegut. And I was trying to decide between Breakfast of Champions, Slaughterhouse-Five, or Cat's Cradle, and decided I like Cat's Cradle the best. And I think it's because of the religious stuff he goes into a little bit. The bog, I can't think of what he called it now, but that they created for the book, it was a fake religion, but I like the whole idea behind it. And that was also Ice Nine, that isotope of water that causes all the water on Earth to freeze. And I kind of like that apocalyptic thing, which they also used in a video game called 999 that was really good. And then next on the list was Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas by Hunter S. Thompson. The movie's good. The movie's very good. And it's done by that Monty Python, Gary Gilliam. Fantastic movie, but the book's better. And that's one of the ones that I did read as a teenager, and I wanted to do a lot of drugs after reading it, which I never did. I still never done a hallucinogenic, but I wanted to after reading that. And I wanted to go buy a Vincent Black Shadow motorcycle and drive it around. Never got around to doing that either. But I've read the book a couple of times now, and Thompson's other books, and I think they're all worth a read. I'm sorry, all the ones that aren't fiction are worth a read. Like all those ones that were, based on Fear and Loathing, and Hell's Angels, fantastic too. That's him hanging out with the Hell's Angels back when they were an evil motorcycle gang and not just a property as they are today, or a trademark. And Hunter S. Thompson, I think he's one of the most intelligent. Like he's just one of the people that I look up to for his thoughts. Him and Christopher Hitchens. And unfortunately, they're both dead. But I would love to think what both of them thought about Trump, like what they would, how they would have handled the Trump presidency and everything that led up to the Trump presidency. Just going back to Thompson's Fear and Loathing on the campaign trail, his stuff with Nixon. Like if he thought all that about Nixon, how would he handle modern? Unfortunately, he decided the world wasn't that great, and ended his own life before then. But still, love Thompson, and I still love Thompson even though I'm old now and not a teenager anymore. And then again, whenever I get to the fifth section in a lot of these, it was really, really tough. But one of the ones that are books that I go back to a lot, and I picked up, I don't do a lot of audiobooks, but I grabbed Audible for some podcasts it was doing. Like they also redid the Sandman series as a dramatization of Sandman. That was fantastic, but you had to subscribe. So I wound up with a lot of their tokens for the things. That's, like I said, the Hitchhiker's Guide, I used six of them on for this whole series. And then this is another one I picked up, and it was Stranger in a Strange Land by Heinlein. Heinlein's one of my favorite authors. I want to say he was around the same time as Asimov, but I think I like Heinlein a little better. His sci-fi can be a little harder, like more based in reality, but this one isn't, because it brings in, again, some takes on religion, some takes on commercialization, stuff like that. He also wrote Starship Troopers, which is a much different book than it was a movie, although both were good. Stranger in a Strange Land is about a There was an expedition to Mars. We landed there and found out there were Martians there. But either something happened and all the crew died, or the crew died in a crash. I forget exactly what it was, which is odd of me saying how my favorite book. But anyway, there was a child that the crew had on their way there, and the child was wound up being raised by Martians who are almost on a different dimensional plane than us. And he has these kind of powers and these abilities, and he winds up coming back to Earth and bringing that with him. And again, a religion kind of gets born around him throughout the course of the series, and it's just Heinlein's take on all that. It's just entertaining. It's just really good. Asimov almost made the list again, going back to the Foundation series. I haven't watched the TV series, so I can't speak to that, but the books were all really good. Don't I just I kind of like that old hard sci-fi.
Yeah, I had a couple sci-fi on my list. I mean, I'm not an avid reader at all. I never have been. Because I read so much content for work, just try to stay up for it. So reading for pleasure just goes out the window, honestly. And I just never been like that. Kind of followed along my dad's footsteps. And Bobby and I talked about it. I think we were both lucky that our top 5 wasn't 5 different editions of the TV Guide.
I actually, there were some that I wanted to put on there, but I just couldn't see reading them. Like there were books that I've read and I've enjoyed. I just couldn't see reading them again. Like Women by Charles Bukowski. What was the other one? There was Ready Player One. I couldn't see reading again. The Harry Potter series I've read multiple times, so I'm not going to read them again.
The Ready Player One, though, but all of his books had Will Wheaton do the audiobook versions of them, and he does a really good reading for him.
Yeah, I haven't read. Have you read Ready Player 2 yet?
I have. I liked it when I was reading it. I mean, it's not a good book by any means, but it's entertaining. It's like a bad movie.
I mean, is it worth reading?
Yeah. I would say if you liked Ready Player One, you'll like Ready Player 2.
Yeah, I read Ready Player One probably 10 years ago, and I liked it. And then I saw the movie and I was like, wait, what? Because it's so different. And then I've never picked up Ready Player 2. But what the hell was the other one?
Anthem.
There was one more. No, I'm trying to think of the other. I can't remember it. There was another book that I could have put on there, but I was just like, I don't think I could. Like Fahrenheit 451, I could have put on there. I do really enjoy that book.
Yeah, that was on mine. I'm a big Bradbury fan, so.
But I just went with other lighter reading. So.
I like to read myself into a deep, dark depression. So.
Yeah, Fahrenheit 451 was okay, but if I'm going to go with dystopian future, I'm going to take 1984.
Well, I try to stay away from Orwell at this point because I mean,
Gotcha.
Just read the paper.
Okay, exactly. All right, so let's get into some more. This should be some fun stuff because I think I don't know how your tastes are necessarily, but I think Bobby and I were really simple on this. I'm curious to see your food ones here. So what's your
calamari?
These were actually harder for me than the other ones were, and I don't know why. So going with the 5 foods, I just tried to go with things that I cook a lot or eat a lot. So number 1 was a good ribeye steak, and I like my steak grilled, and I like it. Some people call it blue, some people call it Pittsburgh style, but I want it like a good sear on the outside. And then when you stab it, I want it to start flipping around like a fish that's still alive because it's raw in the middle, alive. So steak's good. I don't eat it as much anymore, and there's no reason why. I just don't. And then for number 2, and these are in no order, I went with ravioli. Being a good Italian kid, I thought about lasagna because my mom makes an awesome lasagna, but it's just kind of heavy sometimes. I do ravioli is just lasagna kind of. down to its essentials. You got the
So
rigatoni,
let me
you
ask
got the
you,
other stuff.
did you have the internal struggle that I had with I couldn't decide ravioli, stuffed shells, or oh god, the harambe box is back in my brain. Yeah, manicotti. Yeah,
No, because we never really. I mean, we did stuffed shells at the time, but even when we had stuffed shells, I was thinking to myself, "Well, this would be better if it was ravioli." I think I just like ravioli out of all of them. And again, that might just be down to just every Christmas making it with my mom, like rolling the dough from scratch and stuffing it, and put the little forks on the outside to crink it, and that kind of thing. And then number three is weird. This is something that I've been eating more lately, especially since I've been trying to watch my carbs. When I started working in the city and working as a computer guy, was eating a lot of Indian food because around a lot of Indian people, and a lot of that you have over rice or with the bread. And I've been having some problems with my sugar, so I've been trying to stick with. I still want the spice and the spices, but I don't want the carbs. So I've been going to the tandoor section, which is basically their grilled foods. It's a clay oven. So I went with Merch Tikka, which is just a chicken that's super spicy. I don't no idea what the spices are, but like it tastes fantastic, and then your mouth burns, and then it may burn when you pee. It's that spicy. um, which I for some reason I have that issue than the other way. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, it'll blow your ass out," but no, I've never really experienced that. But I've had issues with the burning when I pee that's not related to
I
other
was gonna say
things. It's usually from spice.
I've
It
heard of chicks
it
making it burn when you pee, but I've never
it
heard of chicken
started
making it
after
burn
I
when you
had my
pee.
gallbladder removed. I've also been like I used to eat a lot of spicy stuff, and now if I have too much, I get bad stomach pains, and so it might be a gallbladder thing or a non-gallbladder thing. Yeah, like the gallbladder is what breaks down the oils, so it may just be that the oils pass through me, and they may be passing through both. Both. And I'm glad we went into that in the podcast.
Well,
Next
listen, at
on the
least it's not
list,
leaking out of your asshole.
yeah, this is true. I went with grilled leg of lamb. We've had this a couple of times now for Easter dinner, and if you cook it low and slow, I love lamb anyway, and just anything grilled's really good. And it's just like I said, I've been really enjoying it. And then I went with a staple, being not necessarily from Philly, but from South Jersey. Cheesesteaks, fried onions, and American cheese. I could eat that. I know I shouldn't, and I don't eat that like every other day, but I could. Um, and yeah, so that had to make the list.
Yeah, cheesesteak was obvious for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheesesteak was on mine too.
Yeah.
And then the sides were even harder because I like a lot of sides. And I've been doing a lot of vegetables, and even looking at this list, I'd probably put Brussels sprouts on it instead of my number three because I never had them as a kid.
Though. But you fucked up though. Because on this island you don't have to worry about your health. You're always
no.
healthy.
See, I like it though. It's
What?
like I said, I never had Brussels sprouts as a kid. My parents didn't like them.
Oh, dude, my parents used to make me eat them.
And apparently, Brussels sprouts when they were kids were more bitter. Like we've kind of grown them to be less bitter in the last couple of years. Almost like bananas. Like the bananas that we have are different than the bananas our parents had. Same with Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts are less bitter than what the fuck?
Yeah.
Well, then what the fuck even made people think they were edible when our parents were
telling
younger?
you, if you grill them or broil them with a good, I like putting sesame ginger dressing on them and then broiling them, so you get a little bit of char on the outside. They're actually really good.
Dude, I don't know.
Anyway, they didn't make my list. Going back from healthy to
sorry.
not healthy, my number one side was French fries. I love potatoes. I love fried potatoes. It was hard to choose between French fries or home fries, but in general, I picked French fries. Number two was easier, broccoli rabe. Again, might come from being an Italian thing, but with my steak, I usually cook up some broccoli rabe in garlic oil and some crushed red pepper in there, and saute it till it's a little mushy, and it's awesome. And then number three was having a real hard time. Like I said, if I thinking about it now, I probably would have went with Brussels sprouts. But I went back to the steak thing. Like if I'm eating steaks a lot, what do I like to have with it? French fries, broccoli rabe, and a Caesar salad. I think a Caesar salad just goes with anything pretty much, but steak's not bad.
Dude, all right. So I got to run through mine then for you, so you can hear the ridiculousness that was mine for my foods. So I had steak, chicken parm, stuffed shells, cheesesteak, and then cheese omelet. And my sides were cheesy mashed potatoes, mac and cheese, and bacon.
You're gonna need the bacon to poop after all that cheese.
Yeah.
He's
like, but it's cheesy bacon.
That'll yeah, it was cheese bacon. It'll just grease it on the way out, man. But that's the thing. We're on this island where we're all healthy. There's no Harambe pox. There's, so if worse was worse, you get all backed up, they take it out in your sleep.
There you go.
So what about your snacks? Anything cool here?
This was a little harder, but I think I came up with a list that probably is it. Doritos, OG nacho flavor. Always been a favorite snack since I was a little kid. It's probably why I'm fat, but it's cool. I still go back to them every once in a while. Doritos are awesome. For number 2, going back to the Indian food, I decided to go with papadum. Papadum, think of they consider it a bread, but it's more of a cracker. It's super thin, very crispy, and tastes like black pepper and some other spices. Think of a pepper saltine cracker, but thinner and crispier.
It's like a pepper.
It's just something that's just awesome to just snack on. Number 3, I want popcorn. I love cooking up a bag of popcorn, and I'll put like hot sauce on it sometimes, or Licatelli cheese or stuff like that. So I just kind of chose popcorn as a good go-to. And then I went to think, well, what do I always have in the house as a snack? And since I moved here, there's oh God, I can't think of the Italian. They have a street or a shop on 9th Street, but they also have a shop down the street from me. So I went with aged sharp provolone cheese. Love that. Can always eat it. It's fantastic. And then to go with the sharp provolone, I went with hot supersot, which is like a salami or a pepperoni, but a little different, kind of fattier. Again, spicy, hence the name hot supersot.
Yeah, I didn't think about doing meats or cheeses like in that regard anyway as a snack. I don't know why, because I do that, not all the time, but that was something that we do quite a bit with just chopping up a summer sausage or a block of cheese or something. Really common. I do that a lot. Okay. Went through foods. What about drinks? Let's go non-alcoholic first.
Yeah, this was difficult, but again, I went with stuff that normally looking at this, I'd probably change a couple things too. But on the list officially, iced tea is number 1. That'd probably stay there. Since I was a kid, my mom always brewed her own iced tea. We had it with sugar when I was a kid, and then when she got diabetes, we switched to just adding sweet and low or whatever to it, or lemon. I still need to sweeten it. My dad actually drank it without the sweetener in it, and I think it needs a little bit of something, but you add a little bit and it's good. Then I was thinking about like Diet Dr. Pepper is probably one of my favorite sodas, so I went with that. I tried drinking. The Chinese food place delivers. They give it to you free, so I never get to chew, even though I told them not to bring it. They give you like cans of regular soda when you order the food. So I've tried a regular soda, even though I shouldn't drink it, and it's too thick and heavy now. So I'd still go with the diet, even on an island, with whatever, just because I think it's easier to drink. And then number 3, I went with coffee. I can drink coffee whenever. I do like coffee. I guess caffeine would be my drug of choice. Like I do a lot of it. I've been drinking a lot of Monsters lately too. They're 0 sugar line just because there's 0 sugar in it, and they have a lot of different flavors. But I think I still go back to coffee. Just I like it black with a sweet and low, or Splenda rather. Yeah.
It's funny because I didn't even think about coffee, and I mean, at this point, I just drink coffee straight up black, and it's fine. I got away from putting anything in it quite a long time ago, and mainly because at work they just have powdered creamer, and I just cannot.
Oh, that's horrible. Yeah,
creamer. It's terrible. So I was like, you know what? I'll just go all the way.
I actually like, and I get made fun of by my brother anyway for this. Is I like Fresca a lot too. It's a sugar-free grapefruit soda that he says is for old people, but I like it. So, but I think Dr. Pepper's still probably my favorite soda over the other one.
Wasn't Fresca on? Didn't they start using that on The Boys on the TV show?
They may have. I don't remember.
Oh, did you not watch?
I watched The Boys. I just forget. I watched the cartoons too. I thought the cartoons. It was like they did a series of shorts.
Yeah, I haven't
really
watched
good.
the cartoons on that yet.
Yeah,
but Invincible was really good.
Invincible was fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. So we did non-alcoholic drinks, alcoholic drinks, and we're getting close here. So we're getting to the exciting part, the celebrity one. That's what's
cool. This was a little rough too. I went with Scotch, and I specifically called out Glenlivet. I think that's my favorite Scotch. It's a single malt. When I buy the 18, but I researched this one a little bit, and they go up to a 50-year. So if I'm stuck on an island, you might as well give me the 50-year old stuff. It was like 10 grand. It was something over 10 grand. It was some insanely stupid price for it, like a limited edition thing. I don't even know if it'd be good. I tried the Johnny Blue, and it wasn't good enough to cover the cost over like a Johnny Gold. I think Gold's probably the best out of the Johnny brand or line. Number 2, I went with Dragon's Milk, bourbon barrel aged stout. It's fantastic. If I'm out and they don't have anything else, I'll go with a Guinness. But if I got to choose the beer, I'd probably go with something from New Holland, the Dragon's Milk. The reserves have been really good too.
Yes,
but there's the Dragon's Milk by itself is just a go-to. And then I did the third one was the hard one. And then I thought about the food. What would be good to go with the food? So I just said a really good Chianti, just whatever, as long as it's decent. Dago Red, a little bit of the bitterness to the end of it. I think that goes well with the ravioli and the steak. Excuse me. Bob passed his Harambe Pox through the computer somehow.
Yeah. So what you're saying is it's a computer virus?
Yeah, there you go. Yes.
We've established that now. Harambe Pox is a computer virus. So I need to
sterilize your
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. Before we get into the last ones here, did you have we kind of kidded about it before, but did you have a sports league in mind at all that'd be interested in?
I really don't enjoy it. I tried watching baseball again last year for whatever reason. I guess because I was buying baseball cards because I'm dumb. I was watching a guy open baseball cards. Well, I'm going to buy baseball cards to get into baseball. No, just couldn't do it. It's too boring. No. I always enjoyed, like, whenever I would go out with Bob, like to the Hollywood Diner, and hockey or football would be on. Even not following it, sometimes the games are fun to watch. So I'd probably go with hockey if I had to pick one. And that just might be the generic white answer. But I think if I chose a sports league, it'd be that. Or Foxy Boxing. I don't know if Foxy Boxing counts or Glow. Yeah. Glow would be good.
There's nothing wrong with that. That counts. I mean,
I should have added Glow to my like the old school 80s Glow. Although the TV series they had on Netflix was good too.
Yes,
it was. Yeah. Oh, it was really good.
Excellent. It sucks because that was one of those shows I was hoping it would at least get something else out of it, but it is.
And it had a dead milkman shirt in one of its episodes. Philly represent. Yeah.
Okay, so streaming service.
I didn't think about this one that hard. I came very close. I subscribe to a lot of these because I don't have cable and I'm a single guy that makes too much money. I thought about putting Troma on there because I love their movies, but I think that's stuff that I couldn't watch over and over and over again, and it's not a huge library. I thought about the Criterion Channel. That's really good. I love their stuff. But I think the one that I went with is the only choice, and that's Disney Plus. And I think just for the size of the catalog, I think a lot of the Disney movies are rewatchable, and they got the Marvel and the Star Wars stuff. Not that I'm the biggest Star Wars fan, but The Mandalorian was really good, and I'm looking forward to. I like Boba Fett too because it was like The Mandalorian V2. So I'm looking forward to the Boba, not the
Obi-Wan.
Thank you. Yeah, Ewan McGregor show.
That was the one that I picked as well.
Yeah,
this is the question I cheated on. I just picked straight up YouTube.
Oh, so I didn't even think of YouTube as a stream. Okay, yeah. I subscribe to that. I pay them so I don't have to watch commercials because I was watching it
Exactly,
so
me too.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's exactly
yeah,
Because I was thinking to myself, you know what? Over the long scope of time, something I might wanna watch, someone might upload to it. So,
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
all
I
right,
didn't think of that.
this is gonna be the fun one. Celebrities. Now, we did have a text conversation about this earlier,
Yes.
several
So
days
the
ago
things
saying
I can go
dead
into
or
the things I
alive.
wanted to clarify: were they living or dead? Could
Yep.
I pick them at any point in their life?
Yes.
Um, and are we assuming they want to have sex with me? Because if I had
That's
somebody on an
yep.
island that I wanted to have sex with and they weren't going to do it, I don't want to use their spot on the island. So, and that only comes up once, maybe twice. So we'll go down my list. This was fun. I really thought about this a little bit, and yeah, yeah. So number one,
So Kevin Smith, Harley Quinn Smith, what's his wife's name? Jen Schwalbach.
uh,
And then that's it. That's all you need.
Muse's wife is hot. She may have made the list. But anyway, no, number one is John Waters, director, writer. Just put out another book that I'm getting ready to read. Really excited. The new book he put out is actually fiction. All those other ones have been, I guess, they've been fiction too, but with some. Anyway, I actually did get to see him speak a couple times. I love Pink Flamingos. I actually have the signed poster of it in my living room with the vine on the cover. I just think John Waters is awesome. He's the king of trash or filth or whatever you want to call him. Punk before there was punk. Super gay, which is awesome, and like very flamboyant. I just think he's got this wonderful attitude. His style in his movies crosses over to his life too. Like if you've ever seen it, he's done art. He collects art, but it's that weird art that you would expect a weird person to buy or make. He sends out Christmas cards with this doll that he calls his son on them all the time, and they're always awesome, and they get leaked online. And I just find him funny and fascinating, and really like him. Wouldn't have sex with him though. He's not the one on the list that was a sex thing. But maybe if we're on this island long enough, it's possible. Number two, I'm relatively straight, but this is a guy that I may or may not. If he said, I'm really frustrated. If you could take care of this, I'd probably go for it. And that's Henry Rollins. And again, I've been to several of Henry Rollins' spoken word things, and I've listened to this guy do a 3-hour talks and like standing room only, and I would stand there for another 9 hours to listen to him talk. He looks like a big meathead, but he's brilliant. He's I guess he's brilliant because I like his views. He's ultra liberal. He's been like one of the talks I went to. He was just in North Korea taking pictures, and he was talking about his journey through North Korea and all this other stuff. I like the Henry Rollins show that they used to have on IFC. Was it that? I forget where it was airing, but he's just had some fantastic guests. It's kind of how I first heard of Daniel Johnston. He was on the Henry Rollins show and a couple other Wildman Fisher. I don't think he had him on there, but he was talking about him. He's got a very he collects vinyl or collects records. He's got a huge taste in there, and he's done a couple of radio shows where he's just played, tracks out of his collection. And I mean, he's if I had a man crush, if not Henry Rollins, it would be the guy that plays Eric Northman in True Blood, that Skarsgård guy. If I was gay, that's what I would go for. He didn't make the list though. The Henry Rollins did. Like I said, I have a lot of his. I have it on CD downstairs somewhere. But his spoken word albums, the Rollins Band and Black Flag, I own, all that stuff. He's just like I said, a guy crush thing. Number three goes back to that. If they were on that island, would they have sex with me? And that's Jennifer Lawrence. And I guess I've given away the reason why I want her on the island.
She was on my list too.
Yeah.
Same spot too.
Yeah. I don't know how long I'd put up with her just talking to her, but as long as like we did stuff afterwards, it's cool. Yeah.
That's awesome.
The number 4 is like my wild card pick, which is going to sound weird when I say it out loud, but I'll say why. And that's Groucho Marx, but when he was old, like specifically when he would do that talk show with that guy whose name I can't think of right now because it's 11 o'clock and I'm beat. But he would tell old stories about his life, and just listen to him do these old stories about making the movies and um, going to the country club, and they wouldn't let his daughter swim in the pool because she's Jewish, and he said, "Well, can she go up to her waist because she's only half Jewish?" And just stories like that. And I just think, like, well, if I'm stuck on an island and I want an old man telling me stories, it's going to be Groucho Marx and like old Hollywood and vaudeville, and I like all that stuff, so I figured he'd have good gossip.
That's perfect.
And that brings me to number 5, and it's kind of for the same reasons. Like I was listening to this guy's podcast forever. He's a big fan of old horror movies, like I am, especially the Universal horror, and that was Gilbert Gottfried. I started seeing Gilbert Gottfried as a kid in movies, and then found his stand up, and then um, the roasts he would do and the stuff like that. And then his podcast was just, I like old horror, old Hollywood. Let's bring in somebody who's about to die and get some stories out of them before they die, like he did. Carl Reiner was on the show. I think Mel Brooks may, or I mean, I don't remember if Mel Brooks was on it or not. But he had like the kids of Vincent Price's kid, his daughter, and stuff like that, just telling stories about their dads. Harpo Marx's son was on there telling stories about not just the Marx brothers, but Salvador Dali was friends with Harpo, and he would tell stories about Salvador Dali and Harpo writing a movie for the Marx brothers that never came out, that they released the script of not too long ago. It was a comic book. And just like I said, if I'm stuck on an island and want somebody to talk to, just listening to Gilbert Gottfried talk about movies in the podcast, or actually being able to interact with them talking about the movies, and then also talking about New York City in the 70s and 80s when he was coming up doing comedy. New York is a much different place then than it is now, and just hearing that history. I almost put Penn Jillette on the list, that kind of for the same reasons. Gilbert Gottfried. Again, I just listening to him talk, I like listening to their stories. Again, Penn's somebody I kind of agree with on a lot of his political stuff. Not all of it, but a lot of it. But I went with the movie stuff instead because I think I can talk about movies for a long time. Movies and music. So we got Henry Rollins and Gilbert Gottfried. And then when they want to go to bed, I go to bed with Jennifer Lawrence.
That's awesome, man. No, that's cool. I was excited to hear what you had there because that was I knew you'd have some fun choices. I love the Rollins reference. That's fantastic.
I forgot they were just doing it was like the best Jackass things from their movies, and I forgot he was driving the Jeep when what's his name was getting his tattoo.
Yeah. Steve-O. Yeah.
Like, oh yeah.
Which is kind of funny because in my top 5, and I'm not kidding you, Rich, I actually have Chris Pontius.
Okay.
See, I should have put Knoxville on mine.
Yeah, I had to go with Party Boy. I mean, come on.
Dude, can I tell you, dude, Peyton freaking loves Party Boy too, by the way. Sadly. If you guys haven't checked it out, Jackass 4.5 is on Netflix now too.
What's the how much different content? Have you seen it?
A completely different movie.
Yeah, the 0.5s are always different. It's the stuff that didn't make it into the main movie.
Yeah, it's like stuff that was cut, like pre-shooting stuff, like screen test stuff.
Okay.
And then they talk about like some behind the scenes stuff too.
Okay, I'll be honest, I've never seen any of the points of 0.5. So
yeah. They're just because of what they are, they're not as good as the regular ones because it's the stuff that they cut out, but they're still, it's more Jackass. So if you like Jackass, you're gonna like the 0.5s.
Cool. Well, it's been fun, Rich. Yeah, Bobby, thanks for kind of not dying of Harambe pox in this episode.
Yeah, man. It's the least I could do.
Appreciate it. And Richie somehow has it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a computer virus now, kids.
It's more of a dry thing.
Well,
for the new computer virus, harambepox.exe.